Hello and welcome to the Dr. Kyra Show. This is a special edition of 4 videos on leadership skills to be able to be effective during and through the coronavirus pandemic. The first one we're going to talk about is something that is vexing all of us: rumination. Rumination is something that your brain does as a default. It is literally called the default mode. It was originally discovered when they put humans in a fMRI machine, and they were sitting there in the MRI machine, and there was a lot of activity going on in the brain. And the scientists thought, this is pretty much the default level of activity that the brain's going through. It turns out that if you unpack this a little more, what's happening is that the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex in particular is very active in ruminating on things that have to do with the self, with me. So whatever your story is of me is going to be running in the backdrop. Why is that important right now? Why that's important right now is that the pandemic is full of stimulation for rumination. It's like a bag of chips for rumination to just nosh on constantly. Whether it's the news, whether it is complete upheaval, whether it is trying to change what you do at work, trying to adjust to family life in a new way, take care of your kids 24/7, any of those things can cause and stimulate rumination. Why is this a problem? It's a problem because rumination is causative of all the things we don't want. Toxic stress, anxiety, and depression are all currently called diseases of rumination, as is OCD, for those of you who have that. And there is a way to mitigate this and to calm ourselves in the process of dealing with an ever-accelerating level of rumination in our current world. Number 1, you can focus your attention on something else. So if you don't do anything, the default mode of rumination will take over. It'll take over your mind, it'll take over your thoughts, and that will ultimately take over your emotions. But if you actually focus on something else, get fascinated with something, read a book, read something that you think is interesting, look outside, look at something that you think is interesting, talk to somebody interesting, something like that, where it disrupts your brain's ability to latch on and start digesting something. Now, the exception to that is a lot of people get triggered by and stimulated by other humans to ruminate more about themselves. So things like, do they think well of me? Am I doing okay? Are they going to do anything to me? Those kinds of ruminations can get triggered by two people or being around other people. So be careful of the human-to-human ways that you want to disrupt your rumination. Another thing you can do is just take in senses, take a warm bath, smell a flower, do something to soothe your nerves, have a hot cup of tea, something that really makes you feel good in a sensory way, smell some aromatherapy, whatever, you love, do that, because you're basically sending your brain something else to focus on. Finally, you can do movement. I like to do dance these days. I like to just dance as a way of really getting my mind out of rumination. Of course, meditation is also a really good one. Yoga is a really good one. Anything where you have focused attention and or movement is awesome. As a total parachute, if you find yourself ruminating in a situation where you cannot get out of it, a big deep breath is one of the easiest ways to kind of throw yourself a bone and give yourself a little spacer and allow your brain to kind of go, oh yeah, I need to do something different with myself. I hope this is helpful to you, and we're going to continue with the next leadership skill in the next video. I'll see you next time.